Oh, Jesus, I want a sandwich now. Good day everyone, it's Orf here, and it's that special album review time! Today we're skating through the brand new self-titled record from the Midwest emo band The Family Band out of Benson, Minnesota, Tiny Moving Parts. I think I started listening to this band in 2016 when the album Celebrate was new. And I think if I had to pick a favorite album from their discography, it might be that one. However, my favorite songs from the band probably come off of the Swell record. I remember when that record came out, some fans on the internet stated that the group were losing their original emo sound, opting instead for happy-go-lucky tunes with more of an emphasis on the synthesizer. And while I could agree that the band's style was definitely changing, I didn't necessarily think it was for the worse, because it seemed to me that they were just experimenting with new sounds and would continue to do so going forward. But when the record Breathe came out, that wasn't really the case. I didn't really see much of a difference between this and Swell in terms of quality. There was a little bit of growth, but not a whole lot. There's still songs on here, as well as really every Tiny Moving Parts album that I do enjoy. But now here we are with their 6th full-length LP, and they are just now deciding to release their self-titled. It's interesting seeing bands release their self-titled like 5 or 10 or more years after they actually start releasing music. I kind of always assumed that the self-titled was supposed to exemplify everything that the band stood for, you know? I kind of always saw it as like a big deal. But a band like Asking Alexandria, for instance, sounds nothing like they do on their self-titled as they did 8 years earlier. So my big concern with this record was, is it going to be a continuation of the same stuff they were doing on Breathe and Swell, or are we going to get something new and different? And while I do believe that this record is a very good and very listenable record, I think the answer to that question is the former rather than the latter. In fact, it does seem like the band is taking, if anything, a little bit less risk on this record. Can we talk about this album artwork for a second? Like, I am getting some serious Napoleon Dynamite title card vibes from this. But at least in that movie, they were spelling out words with condiments on an actual burger. They really just said, no, put it across 7 frets of my guitar. Oh, just thinking about getting ready to play and then your fingers just get mayonnaise on them. Anyway, going back to what I was saying earlier, the album is not bad by any means, but it doesn't really feel the need to try anything out of the ordinary either. There's a song off of Breathe called Vertebrae, and about 2/3 of the way in there's a banjo part. But they don't just shamelessly throw a banjo in there just to be gimmicky. I think it actually added to the song and led to an interesting listening experience. That's cool. It sounds cool, and I was hoping to get that kind of creativity in their self-titled. Unfortunately, we don't really get anything like that here. And it leaves me feeling so odd towards it, because there's really not a song on here that I dislike. Decibel is an energetic opening to the record. Jotting Notes is a great title with its very quick wheedly guitar parts, because it kind of sounds like the band is just jotting down random notes when writing the song. But it also ends up being very poetic, as well as the next track, Downhill Spiral, which might be my favorite on the record. I really enjoy the instrumentation at the end of that one. But if that one wasn't my favorite, it would be All My Guts, because we can really feel the emotion in Dylan's vocals, and the guitar at the beginning is gorgeous. The closing track 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 feels like the band trying harder to break outside of their sound than any other track on the record. It's got a lot of emotion in it, and the chord progressions are a little bit more out of the box. But is there anything on here that sounds like something that Tiny Moving Parts have never done before? No. It's a good album, but it also just feels like a slightly less inventive version of their last 2 records. And you know what? I love these guys. I've seen them perform live in Atlanta, Georgia, and Prague, Czech Republic, and I don't think I've ever seen a band having more fun on stage than these guys do. So I think if you enjoy this record, it's going to be 10 times better seeing them perform it live if you intend to go to one of their shows. For me, as an emo pop-punk record, it's as solid as it gets. There's no glaring issues, but there's nothing on here that can compete with my favorite songs from the band. If you love Tiny Moving Parts, you'll love this album, and if you don't, I don't really think this record will change your mind at all. If anything, it might make you want a sandwich.